Hey beauties, welcome back to Real Girl Talk Podcast Radio. I am your host, Sherry Ricard. I'm a medical professional, business leader, author, speaker, and adversity recovery expert, bringing you fascinating guests, business, beauty, and lifestyle tips to help you create a beautiful life, and always committed to keeping it real. Now let's dive in. My guest today is a recording artist whose EP, I Made the Static, rocked to the #1 spot on both iTunes and Amazon following her 2017 Grammy appearance, Joy Villa. She is a true entertainer who tours 25 countries a year and has wowed the world with her red carpet style. She is a speaker, a political commentator, a humanitarian, and now author of her book, Kick Ass Conservative. Hello, Joy. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Sherry. Good to be here.
I am super excited. So I was telling Joy before we started recording that she has energy like me. So I am very excited to have you on. And I am so impressed with you. Like, I'm just going to tell you right now, total girl crushing on you because
I love it.
And I'll tell you why, because you have such a voice and you're so authentic, which is one reason why I wanted to bring you on the show. But you have such talent, a talented recording artist, but that now is just a small part of who you are, right? Because you are a political commentator, you're humanitarian, you are on stages, you're on TV, you're everywhere, and now you're an author.
Now I'm an author of a best-selling book. It hit #4 on the Amazon charts for women in politics.
Shut up. Okay.
Ask conservative.
You know what? And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that because what I want to, and there's so much to talk about, but we have just a half hour or so to chat. Okay. I want to talk about a little bit about you being in Hollywood and also standing strong for your Christian values.
Yes.
And for your conservative voice, not only having the guts to do that, or I should say maybe God gave you the strength to do that.
That's
because
right.
where we can't handle, he intervenes, right?
Ooh, that's right. So
number one, what made you just take a stand, or have you always been that way, and say, I'm going to do and say what I want to? And how did Hollywood perceive you?
Well, it's a really good question. First of all, I'm very fly by the seat of my pants. So I've always been very vocal and outspoken for my values. You know, I was raised a preacher's daughter. My dad was a minister. He passed away, unfortunately, almost 10 years ago. And my mom passed away as well. But I was raised in the church. So my dad was an evangelist. So he would travel from churches to churches in California, in New York, where I was raised in both states. Nice. And, you know, we had the ups and downs like anyone else, but we always had Jesus, music, and a lot of I love yous. Aww. And that kept me strong. You know, my mom dealt with mental illness, you know, and we're a mixed family. So my mom, Black American and Native American, Choctaw, and my dad, Argentinian and Italian. So we had this very spicy, crazy life. I have an older brother and a younger brother. And so we had this crazy, awesome, wild life. And I was always very much an introvert, which people are surprised to find out about me. But I would spend hours alone reading, writing, studying the Word of God, planning my future. I was 11 years old and I said, I know I'm going to make it. I was 5 years old when I got into the industry. At 5 years old, a modeling agency wanted to discover me, but my parents said no. But they put me in theater classes instead because they couldn't stop me from being a performer. I always knew this was my destiny. This is what I needed to do. So I started in musical theater. And then I ended up where in 2011, as a young adult, I produced my first single called Cold Wind. I sang on it and I co-produced it with the producer. And then shortly after that, I ended up touring 35 countries, self-touring, independent artist, never been signed by a record label. Many big labels have courted me. And when I look at the facts, like when I look at the legal aspects of it, I say, I don't want to sign over my music to you. But before that, I've always outspoken about being a Christian, always outspoken about being for God and for unity, you know, and it doesn't matter where you come from, as long as you don't try to shut me down, I'll let you speak as well. I was always about inclusion and diversity, and but I was liberal. I was raised very conservative, but then I became liberal as a byproduct of Hollywood, because
Ooh,
that is the Hollywood culture. People
sure.
people I think understand it on the outside, but you really don't understand until you're in it. Because imagine the job you've always wanted to be in, the job you've always wanted, whether that's working at Google or being I don't know, a high powered executive someplace, or whatever, the dream job, being a doctor, let's just say, something that
Right.
has nothing to do with arts. Imagine you get your dream job, you want to work in Seattle Hospital, and you get that job, but the culture there says, don't be too loud about God. Don't be supporting America. Can we make it more just like international? You start to go, well, I want the job. So tick, there goes a value. Tick, there goes another value. Tick, until you're so lukewarm. And I will admit it, I was lukewarm as a Christian for many years. I said, well,
Mm.
I'm pro-life, but should I really push other people to be pro-life? Maybe I should be pro-choice because I choose to be pro-life, right? A lot of these things started eroding my strength, because when I was younger, I would preach to you in a second as a preacher's daughter. I would tell you, Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, if you accept him, you're going to go to heaven. If not, you're going to hell. I would say that as a kid. I would get in trouble for it. I would tell kids that. And it wasn't out of meanness. I was never mean, but it was just like,
Wow.
hey, this is what my dad does on stage. And my mom sings in the choir, and she's a homemaker and an artist. This is what I was meant to do.
Right.
And then being a young person in Hollywood, it starts eating you away. For me, I take full responsibility. I talk about my whole story in Kick-Ass Conservative, which I'll give your listeners 20% off if they sign up for my mailing list at joyvilla.com. Go to joyvilla.com, put your email address there. You'll get 20% off of Kick-Ass Conservative.
Nice.
It shares the whole story in detail. So fast forward to 2016, and really that election, as is this election, is about morals, integrity, and values. Do
Right.
we want America to stay America, as my friend Laura Trump said at the RNC? That's what this election is about in 2020, as it was in 2016. Little did we know. I voted for Obama. I wanted a handsome black man as my president, like many other people.
Right.
I was duped. I was duped, but I was liberal. I was independent, registered independent, but politically I was uneducated.
Yeah, but don't you think that people actually voted for Hillary Clinton because they wanted a woman?
Oh
as a
yeah,
president? I mean, come on.
100%. I'm so the opposite. I'm like, are you kidding me? You got to look at their voting record. You got to look at what they've done or what they didn't do. Look what Joe Biden, 47 years in office, he's done absolutely nothing. The crime bill, 1994 crime bills, hurt black and brown men and women, put a lot of black fathers in prison, has hurt the now black culture, has been destroyed because fathers are in jail and drugs are rampant and lack of education. And being a black American woman and mixed race, I see that and it hurts my heart. So
Right.
they took God out of schools in the 80s and 90s. They started telling everybody you have ADHD, so here's drugs, and depend on the state and psychology and take God out. You're just an animal. I mean, this is the degradation of society. So
Yeah.
Hollywood is at the forefront of it, because all the glamorous, beautiful people that I wanted to be a part of all had abortions, were pro-abortion. They're like, well, if I didn't, have abortions, I wouldn't have this gold statue. When actresses go on the stage and talked about it. I forgot which one said that, but one of them said it not that long ago. And this is the degradation that is in Hollywood. And it's from the outside, it's obvious, right? But when you're in it, you want so badly to be a part of the group, to be a part of everything. But when Trump came on the scene, he stood for all the values that my dad stood for. He sounded like my dad. It reawakened my conservatism and my Christian values. And I said, I have to shed this lukewarm falseness.
Mm.
I mean, I'm still growing. I am not perfect. I tell people I'm not your preacher. I'm an artist. My dad
Right.
was a preacher. I'm not. I minister to people. I pray publicly, and which God has put lit a fire under my heart to be even more vocal with my values, my Christian values, as well as my political values as an artist. But when I came out for Trump, and as a proud conservative, pro-life, pro-God, pro-America, I got death threats. 2017, the Trump dress started it all. I got death threats. I got racial slurs. I got called every name in the book. I still do to this day. And I have to travel with security. I have to be very careful. I can't post where I'm always at. I have to be very, we can't say the room number because people are listening. People are trying to
Right.
find me. I tell my assistant, we got to be very secure, right? My team is very tight. I've got to vet my team. I've got an incredible team at Joy Villa Productions, Inc. And we're independent and we produce the content that I want. And they're all Trump supporters. I got Latina, who's my assistant. I've got a Jewish guy who does my video and media, and then of course I get called a racist, right? It's like,
Yeah.
so the whole thing. So Hollywood hates me for that. The establishment of Hollywood, but I tell you, the individuals have come out. Like Kaya Jones, we were talking about, a mutual friend. She came out because I encouraged her to come out in 2017. She saw my Trump dress. We knew each other from the red carpet scene. I said, sister, you got to come out. You got to come out and you got to be bold. And she has, and God has blessed her for that. There's an awakening. I tell people it's your moral responsibility to be pro-life, pro-God, and pro-America, and to do something about it. Because now we are faced the same situation as we were 4 years ago, but it's even better. 50 Cent just came out. The left can keep Diddy because we got 50. He said, I don't want to be 20 Cent. I want to keep my money. Joe Biden's taxation is going to raise taxes by 4 billion%. And Kamala Harris says, well, we're not going to tax the poor or the middle class. It's only the rich. But they're going to get rid of Trump's tax plan, which right now is currently putting more money in the pockets of the middle class, which the left has ignored for so long. Those are hardworking Americans who just want to keep money in their pocket. And we have the poverty, very, very poor, and then we have the very, very rich. What about all of us in the middle? So Trump 2020, I am proud. I've been wearing my Trump 2020 Grammys dress. I've been doing it every year. It's pro-life or pro-Trump, something pro-America, build the wall, as I did in 2018. Yeah, 2019 was that. And it's been incredible.
I mean,
I've been successful. I've hit
incredible.
#1 on Billboard, iTunes, and Amazon.
I know.
I'm touring around the country. I've got a hit book. And
it's amazing.
It's not easy, but it's my purpose. It's the values. It's my vision to change the world. I've always known that God created me to change the world, and I get to do that today.
See, this is why I girl crush on you, because you are you are everything that I wish that most women, and we all can't be the same, right? But I wish most women would stand for their values and they would know their worth. One thing that I have really tried to, and my listeners know of that about me, that after my son died and I really just wanted to die myself, I came to a point to where I knew God told me that he was going to use that pain for purpose.
Yeah.
And if you would have told me back then what I know right now, I probably would have been mad at you, because I would have said, you mean to tell me that my son had to die for me to have this platform? I don't want this platform. I don't want anything about this. You can take it all away. I don't want to help anyone. I don't want to inspire anyone. I just want my son back, but I can't have my son back. So God said, what about the women that need your inspiration? Because if you can bury a child, my 17-year-old son, which was the light of my life, honor roll student, most attractive of his senior class, National Honor Society, just a gem of a human. And if I can take him and I can bury him and go through what I've been through and come out here 13 years after I buried my son and still talk about him today, every day on this platform, God has given me a gift. This is a gift. Because it is so important. It is so important for women that have been through any adversity.
Yeah.
You've been called names and you've been slandered, and you know your talent. No one has to tell you. You know what it is, right? But isn't it something how one comment can stab you in the back? When my book came out, Wake Up Call, A Mother's Grief Journey, and, Fox had me on their local station, and the big newspaper in Louisiana came out and all that. That's all great.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And all of these people were getting on my Facebook and sending me DMs. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, who are these people? I've got to get a different Facebook. They're on my private page. They're sending me DMs. But it was that one comment. It was that one comment.
That one hater, one nasty comment.
How dare you profit off your deceased son?
Wow.
Now, here's the thing, Joy. I could have said what I wanted to say, which was not of Christ.
I know that's true.
And I could have
always perfect. I always say, Jesus still loves me. Jesus still loves
the wheel on this one. But here's the thing. I also could have told her where the money was going, which was to his scholarship fund, which was funding a scholarship every year for a deserving senior in his high school. But I didn't feel like somebody that was that hateful
No.
needed to hear from me at all.
No, you're right. And that's the thing, Sherry, is I have a whole chapter about how to deal with haters, my secrets on how to deal with haters in Kick-Ass Conservative, because I've dealt with it. And us as being women who are out and proud and
Right.
bold, will deal with that. Anytime you do anything, this is the trick. Anytime you do anything worth anything, you're going to attract attention, which is good. People ask me all the time, especially when I go on media, I do tons of news, always the press, and they say, well, what do you say to people who said you wore that dress just for attention and you keep doing this just for attention? I say, well, they're right. I do it for attention, but the difference is I use that attention for the right thing. So yeah, you are using your son's death. There's nothing wrong with that for the right thing. You're not going out into the slot machines and using that money or
Right.
getting drunk. You are
Right.
literally reinvesting the attention you get and the funds to create something beautiful out of something horrible.
Exactly.
That's what every single person knows in their heart they should be doing. So that hater was jealous. Hatred comes from jealousy, and the Bible says
Right.
no man can stand against jealousy because it
Right.
means you can't really do anything. If someone's jealous of you, you got to laugh it off and just smile and keep on going. Because
You
for
do.
one hater, we know there's 1,000 good people. There's 1,000 lovers. And so you did
100%.
the right thing. I never respond to those haters because they're not your audience. That hater, like you said, that person has such hatred in their heart is because they're upset that how dare you do something good in this world when they know they failed. And
Exactly.
there's 2 to 20% of people out there that are going to behave. The 2% are the really evil ones. The 2% of the evil ones, they stir up the other ones. About 20% of those will go, I see little things, people go, oh, don't follow Joy Villa because blah, blah, blah. And there'll be some random rumor or hater. Or they'll put
Right.
pictures from my past, which I say I wasn't an angel. I talk all about that in my book. I dealt with alcohol addiction. I dealt with promiscuity. I dealt with all kinds of stuff. With being a lukewarm Christian, even in the last few years of denying, going, oh, I went through divorce. I went through self-denial of things. And while I'm in the spotlight, putting a smile on my face, I'm dealing with haters. I had friendships that were broken, people that stole money from me, people that lied about me. I found out someone got paid $50,000 to create a story about me that the press picked up. Of course, the leftist press picked up. I found out things I had said in my past were used against Trump. And I said, you know what? I'm going to ignore that. Thank you, Jesus, for the peace that passes all understanding. I'm going to continue creating beautiful things that will help inspire and uplift. And then guess what? The stories start fading. The hate goes down. I don't respond to those haters. I don't even take time to block them unless they're attacking people I love or my friends.
Sure.
I say, you just boosting my algorithm. You get on my page and you go, it's always about you and I don't like this and the Trump dress and you can't sing. I go, thank you for the quotes. Thank you for the posts. Because that just boosted. Facebook is going, well, that's a very interactive page. They don't know if it's hate or love. Lots of comments flowing through,
That's funny that you said that, because then what will happen is then you'll have somebody that comes to your defense and then they have somebody else.
Yep.
And before you know it, your entire thread may have only had 100 or 200 legit comments and the other 500 are arguing with that one person.
And they will always come to your defense. It's like, I don't even have to say anything. I love it. And that's why we have to be kick-ass. We have to be kick-ass Christians, kick-ass conservatives, kick-ass creators, kick-ass parents. We have to take life and grab it and dominate life, dominate the sector, as Grant Cardone, very successful entrepreneur and a friend of mine, says. I mean, he's a multi-million-dollar company.
Elena and I are friends.
Yes,
We
Grant?
have a mutual friend.
Are you serious? You know Grant?
Yes.
Oh my God, he is amazing.
Girl, she's from New Orleans.
Years ago. Oh, he gave in Los Angeles. He gave a lecture years ago, and I said, this is before I was just doing my artist, trying to struggle, and I said, I want to work for you. And he was like, well, why haven't I hired you yet? I was this close to working for Grant Cardone.
Oh, wow.
And then my music career took off before I became pro-Trump, and now my music career is even more, even though I have the hate.
Yeah.
Because I've hit #1 on Billboard, iTunes, and Amazon, and I continue to tour, and I make a living doing what I want. And Grant Cardone is awesome. So I love that we have mutual friends.
That is hilarious.
But he says dominate your sector, and then dominate sounds scary to a lot of people, but you have to. I have to dominate the world that I'm in for a good cause. Power and control and domination are not actually bad things. It depends on who's wielding that power.
Right.
When I say, hey, listen, go buy my book, I'm controlling your attention to my book. That's not a bad thing. A lot of people can't do that. You have to confront And as an entrepreneur, as a business person, you have to confront that and say, if you have a GoFundMe or a fundraiser or a book, or you're an artist, or you want to start your own company, you're going to have to hit people over the head with your product and ask them to send you money. Get over it. As long as you know you're being ethical, you know where the money's going, and you're living in your purpose.
Today's show is sponsored by Green Chef. Green Chef is a USDA certified organic company that makes eating well easy and affordable, with plans to fit every kind of lifestyle. Meal plans from vegan, vegetarian, paleo, and keto. And if you follow me on social media, you have seen me on my Instagram stories cooking Green Chef all of the time. I love it because Green Chef lets you choose from a wide array of easy to follow lifestyles with select organic ingredients. Recipes are quick, easy, with step-by-step instructions, chef tips, and photos to guide you along. Everything is hand-picked and delivered right to your front door. You can start today by going to greenchef.com/RealGirlTalk80 and use code RealGirlTalk80 to get $80 off across 4 boxes, including free shipping on your first box. You will love it. You can switch meal plans whenever you're ready to try a new way of eating. Just go to greenchef.com/RealGirlTalk80 and use code RealGirlTalk80 to get $80 off across 4 boxes, including free shipping on your first box.
Don't feel bad about it. We're taught to apologize. Sorry. No, especially women. Women are taught to, oh, sorry. Don't apologize. Men don't apologize when they dominate in their field. Why are we apologizing? You can be classy and strong, and you don't have to lead like a man. You lead like a woman. Grace and beauty and warmth, and that's even more powerful.
If you think about it, a lot of times women, Christian women, and money, they feel like they can't have this conversation. And I truly don't understand it, because money is what feeds you. Money is what clothes you. Money is what puts a roof over your head. And if you are not willing to go out and monetize your talent, I don't care what it is. You know, I've been in the healthcare industry for 25 plus years. Just because I'm not at the bedside and haven't been in 15 doesn't mean that nurturing and caregiving is not my passion. Of course it is, but God uses it in a different realm, right? So he uses it in a totally different realm. It's okay.
Yes, it is okay. In fact, it's our godly right. Proverbs 31, the Proverbs 31 woman, any Christian women, even if you're non-Christian, listen, you can still read the Bible and get the goodness out of there, you know, and I encourage you to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and see what God is saying to you. But Proverbs 31 in the Bible, the Proverbs 31 woman is a businesswoman. She's a wife, she's a mother, but she goes into the markets and haggles the prices so she can get the linens, and then she goes back. She has a whole team that she sews. She's a businesswoman. She's an entrepreneur. See, it's been misinterpreted that a good little Christian woman just doesn't worry about money and is just a housewife. That's one version, and you can totally be a housewife. That's a beautiful, honorable job, and be a mom. That's a beautiful, honorable job. My mom did that too. But my mom also did crafts and arts, and she sold her fiber arts. She would do wall hangings and rugs, and she sang in the choir, and she supported everything I did. And that's the thing, is you can have a career, that you can have a hobby that turns into a career, and you can still have family. We can have it all. It's the left that says, oh, feminism says you have to have a career and kids are going to drag you down. And they're trying to say pregnancy is dangerous. No, I want it all. I'm ready to have kids in a few years. You know, I'm going to get remarried. God's going to send me the right man, and I'm going to have babies, and I'm going to have a career, and I'm going to be rich. I want to be a billionaire, because if Oprah can be a billionaire and not be using that money for God, why can't I be a billionaire?
Absolutely.
That's access. That's ability.
That's what I said.
That's your ministry.
Right.
So it is your birthright, it is your beautiful crown and your mantle in Christ's kingdom to be rich and to use that money to help others. It's the love of money that causes evil, not money. I hate that scripture is misquoted. You need to have money. Poverty is not holy. We're not monks, you know, praying with our prayer beads and dusting the floors. That's not, no, if that's your calling, fine. But guess what? You're going to help the world if you're out there moving and shaking with the rest of them and the best of them. And people will see it and go, why are you so successful? Why do you have a private jet? Why are you always smiling? You go, well, it's because I'm following God's will. That's a better testimony than being poor. I tell you that much.
You know
I've
what?
been both, and I'd rather be
This is why I
rich.
love you. I mean, I just want to crawl through here and just like squeeze you. It's just
Oh,
get all of
thank
that
you.
energy
We're hanging
because
out as girlfriends. I
I'm
love it,
telling you,
Sherry.
I just really, it's when we stop talking today, I'm still going to carry all of this joy into my dinner plans tonight because I'm telling you, it just fills me up because you're saying everything that I say. And it's just
Mm,
like, oh my gosh, women, get out of your
yes.
comfort zone, get
Get
out.
out. It's not godly to be in the
It doesn't
comfort
matter
zone.
what you've been through. You know, a lot of women say, well, Sherry, you don't
Use it.
understand.
Use what you've been through. That's your success story. I watch
Exactly.
a lot of TED Talks, like a lot of people. I read a lot of books by other people, entrepreneurs. I
Me
study
too.
others who've been successful. And one of the women I really admire is Brene Brown. She's amazing. I haven't met her yet. I can't wait. I'll give her a big hug. She talks about vulnerability and
I
how
know.
important that, especially for a female. I study feminine energy, right? There's masculine energy is get out there, grab it, go for it. And we need that. But feminine energy is receive, vulnerability, warmth, and we really need that. We need to use both. And when you lead like
Right.
a woman, you're using feminine energy, and you don't have to be what the feminists have lied and told us. That's why I say I escaped liberal feminism to become a freedom-loving Trumplican. And I have a whole book about why I am pro-woman, not feminist. I call it pro-woman.
Right.
Because I will back you up if you are a woman who wants to stay at home and have kids, if you want to not have kids, if you want to be in the workforce, if you want to do all of it, if you want to be, pro-life women. None of us, Christian women, pro-life women, pro-Trump women, pro-America military women, police officer women, none of those women are represented in the
Right.
media or by feminists, even though it's the most feminist thing you can possibly do. But I throw away that term because it served us for when we said we don't want to be property of our husbands. That was first wave feminism. Second wave feminism was we need the vote. The rest of it was just
The word was hijacked. Yeah.
got hijacked.
Yeah.
Totally hijacked. So let's throw that word away. Let's say we're pro-woman. That means all women. That doesn't mean just some women. The Women's March, some women,
Right.
and that means that we support one another, and there needs to be more of a sisterhood of entrepreneurs, of career builders, because you can be a stay-at-home mom and have a mommy blog and monetize that and make money and help your husband, or you can be a single college girl and start selling products, your own t-shirts online, and help your parents who are paying the bill, right? Or you could be independent like me. I mean, it's a blessing. Like your son, that was so tragic that he died at such a young age, but look at you being a powerhouse mom and using that pain to be vulnerable and share your story. And that touched me. I was moved to tears. And that's what we do. So I lost both my parents over 10 years ago. So that pushed me to say, I don't have parents I can just go to mommy and daddy and say, hey, can I stick it out? I said, listen, if I go broke, I go broke. I don't have anyone to depend upon, right? And I have been there. Well, I depended upon my ex-husband because he made more money than me. And I don't want to be in that position either. We have to depend on ourselves. Whether you're married or single, you need to make your own money, have your own business sense, and learn those things. I know it's hard if you weren't taught it. Luckily, my dad was a businessman and he taught me a lot of the tricks of the trade. Women need to learn and grow, start reading books, start studying, taking courses. Financial freedom is so important. Dave Ramsey, another awesome,
I
leader.
love Dave Ramsey. Love Dave Ramsey. And you are so right, Joy, because I think women too, you may have a college degree and then you get married and you have kids and then they start talking about how they lose their identity. You don't have to lose your identity in being married or having children, because I've been working, other than the section that I was in nursing school, I've been working since I was 16 years old.
Wow.
Okay. So I am married, but I'm not married to my husband to financially take care of me, because he knows I don't need him for that.
And that's the best marriage.
He knows that.
Anytime, they love it too. And it keeps them going, well, you don't treat me right. I could go any.
He
You got to
knows.
keep them a little bit like, oh, shoot, she's got her own money. She's got her independence. It creates a better flow in the relationship because now you have your own thing. If you want to go take a trip with the girls, you can pay for it yourself. It's a trap to.
And I do it often.
Feminism is like Cardi B. She's saying, in her song, right, WAP, which of course is disgusting. Don't listen to it. But I'll tell you, one of the lyrics that is the most disgusting to me is, I don't cook, I don't clean, still I got that ring, which is like, to me, that's anti-feminist. You're saying you don't have to do anything except give them sex and they'll marry you. And now she's divorced because he's cheated on her multiple times. And God bless her. Listen, I'm not a fan, and I hate what she's done in the music. And I'm not trying to badmouth a fellow divorcee. It's not about that. But I'm saying that's what you put out. It's karma. I hate to say it. You put out all that. I'm not going to do anything for it. I'm just going to marry a rich man because I'm going to give him sex. It's terrible. We're teaching girls that. No. You get married, marry for love, and have your own walk-in money. A lot of women go from parents running their lives directly to husbands or boyfriends running their lives. And then they get divorced and they've got kids and they're 40 years old not knowing what they want to be in life or do because they've given their life to others, and that's not God's plan for us. No. You need to be an individual, make your own money, have your own freedom, take trips, go off, be free, and give as much as you receive, but also be willing to receive. Like, yeah, I do cook and clean. And, you know, when I was married, it was an equal partnership. You don't want to have that relationship where it's tit for tat, quid pro quo, you know, and you have a man who wants to provide for you. Beautiful. Accept that. That's vulnerability. That's feminine energy, but also be willing to provide for yourself in case that ever changes.
Exactly. And two, you know, I was going to say, I may be offending someone here if I say this, but if you are doing nothing, basically you don't cook, you don't clean, you're not doing anything, say you have kids, say you don't have kids, but you do absolutely nothing and you still have that ring, how is that different than taking money for absolutely having sex? Because if you're having sex and you're not doing anything, but you're getting something for it, how is that any different than prostitution? The exchange is actually something of material value rather than the cash.
Absolutely.
To me is the same thing. And I look at some women today and you know, and I've got women in all friends that are in all walks of life. Okay. I have the celebrity friends, I have the multi-million-dollar friends. I have the friends that get up at, you know, 6 o'clock in the morning at work by 8. They work 9 to 5, you know, got 3, 4, 5 kids. I know people all over this country that I've had the privilege, honored, and humble heart and blessings of meeting through the platform that I have. But what I don't understand is how you can be a part. Say you lost everything. Say your husband's business fell apart or your husband lost his job. Why can you not take care of yourself?
Right.
Is it because you stopped the minute he started providing and the minute he decides not to provide? I had a friend that was married to a very wealthy man for many, many years. And guess what she ended up with in her marriage? Because he could afford the good attorney and she couldn't. Nada.
Nothing.
Zero.
Exactly.
The woman was living off $25,000 a year. I mean, she went, this is from picking out, you know, $20,000 chandeliers in her foyer to doing what she could to earn $25,000 a year with 3 kids.
It wasn't her money. And that's the thing. Women have to have their own money. I'm like, I don't mind being with a rich man, but I also need to be rich. You know, if you want to marry a billionaire, be a millionaire first. You know, like at least have something, have your thousands saved up and reinvest and invest in yourself. Get started. There's plenty of courses out. There's plenty of YouTube videos. There's plenty of, get a mentor too. And that's what I want to do is start mentoring women, have mentorship programs. I'm going to start having courses where I talk about this more because it's a lifestyle. It's a lot of, I'm surprised women weren't raised with this. And I go, you know, this is a missing teaching. And when I talk to women, they go, you're right. And then, you know, and I'm about to be divorced or I've got divorced and I have nothing or I'm married and really he's the provider. And it creates a weird static in the relationship because if he's doing all of that work and you're not doing anything or you're unhappy, he knows it. And it's money and material things are not what we're going after, but that helps. It's the independence. It's the self-gratification of I'm my own woman. I can do what God has called me to do. Because if God's calling you to go and minister or go teach or go help some kids, you need to have money to go do that. You can't be going to your husband, hey, can I? And he's going to say, well, why? You know, and you need to have money to do your hair and your nails. Like, don't go to him all the time. I've been in that. I've been in relationships where I'm the one who makes more money and my husband's the one who makes more money. I've been in all kinds of relationships. And I tell you, the best one is when you have that self-confidence that you are your own business, you are your own product. You invest it. If you've got a degree, start using that somehow. Start an online company, online business. There's never been a better time. Go start a YouTube channel, you know, do something, right? Because a lot, like you said, women get their degree. They're all about it in their 20s. And then suddenly they settle and they think, well, my job is to be a wife and mom now. Very few women will be satisfied only being a wife and mom. There's nothing wrong with it. Right. But if you're not satisfied only doing that, then that means you need to also do something else that feeds you. your kids grow up. That's right. And your kids need to see mommy being an entrepreneur, mommy being a businesswoman, mommy doing that, if that's what you're called to do. But I just know a lot of women, they think they're going to be satisfied when they have babies and they're at home. And then they realize, I want to talk to grownups, and I gave up my high-powered job, or I gave up my career to be a wife and mom. And I'm like, who told you to do that? You should have kept that and been a wife and mom. Exactly. God says we exceedingly abundantly. Proverbs 31 woman wasn't a stay-at-home mom. And again, I love stay-at-home moms, but that's not for everyone. But you have to be organized. You have to be disciplined. Nothing good comes from easy. It's not easy. God never promised us an easy life. So work for it. Stop being a spoiled brat and go work for it. Save your money. Stop getting your hair and nails done maybe. Save those pennies. You go, well, I don't make enough or whatever. Then start saving right now and start reinvesting in your life.
Power of the woman. And that's super important, because I think too, we aren't taught this in school, right? You're taught a certain trade, whether it be through high school and in college, whether you have your master's or whatever, you're taught specifically that only. If that is something that you find later on in life that you're not fulfilled to do, we're not taught any other things. So it's very important to have, I think you should be a mentor. I think you should start and have these courses and these online courses for women that want to, and I talk about this on my show.
I'm going to start launching it next year.
That's good. Reboot, regroup, reinvent yourself.
Yes.
And something that makes you feel fulfilled. And we'll have to have you back on the show when you launch it next year.
I would love
and talk
that.
about the courses, because I think it's super important. When I wrote the book, people kept saying, Sherry, how do you write a book? How do you write it better?
Right.
And I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I said, let me show you how to write a book, make a book cover, put it on Amazon for free.
Yes.
And so I came up with a course, and people started buying the course.
Whoa. I was going to say, and see, you monetize it.
You monetize that.
Because people might say, oh, you should just be that. No, that costs you blood, sweat, and tears and time and money to do it.
There's no way I would have enough time.
Know. Yeah. So you make a course, people, I would buy it. I just self-produced my own book as well. I would have bought that course because I was looking for people to teach me. There's not a lot of people out there.
I mean, look, there's courses like mine that'll cost you $5,000. My course is $300. Okay. So
I love it.
It's very simple. I made it very affordable, and people are using that book. I know someone right now that's in the midst of writing her spiritual journey, and she's using the platform from the class Writer's Roadmap. And that's what the name of my course
Writer's Roadmap.
Writer's Roadmap. It's only open twice a year.
That out. I love it.
It's open twice a year. I'll let you know so you can push it for me, but it's closed right now. I only open it twice a year because people ask me questions, and I want to make myself available to answer those questions. And I can't do that 12 months out of the year with everything else.
Your time is valuable. That's right. Right. Well, you could even up if you wanted to make yourself more available, you could have a higher price tier for that, because you're giving somebody a $50,000 return on investment when they have you, a successful author, tell them you could do a Zoom meeting like this. They should pay for that. People invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in these very liberal, very ungod-centered education centers that give them a piece of paper, and then they still can't get a job. You could invest $2,000 in a one-on-one opportunity to learn from Sherry, to learn about a book. And women will do it when they're inspired enough. God knows I've spent thousands of dollars on my journey from other mentors, other women, especially women. There's a market for women, because we need to use our advice, what we've learned, because women, unfortunately, grandmothers and mothers and sisters, we're not sharing like we used to back in the day. It used to be more of a tight-knit community. We have a lot of hate. We have a lot of self-doubt. We have a lot of people come in and marketing being like, this type look is better than that. And it's all money. It's all a big plan and a push to separate women from being in a sisterhood. So you have to seek out those mentors, because you may not, I don't have a lot of women I have strong women in my family, but a lot of them have passed away, unfortunately, or are distant, or are going through their own things. So I seek out other strong women so I can be inspired. Yes. And that's why you can pay for that, because that's the exchange. I know if I'm paying $2,000 for a course from you, I'm going to get a $10,000 to $50,000 return on investment.
Exactly.
Because your education is real and sound, and you are going to teach me to avoid the mistakes. So that's, that you avoided. So that's what I want to do. And I'm putting it together to teach women confidence, to teach women entrepreneurship, to teach women to be, that's why this kick-ass conservative, I made it very political, but it's not just about politics, about dealing with haters, about being yourself, going after it, finding God's purpose for your life. Once you have your purpose, you can put that in a book. You can put that on TV. You can put that everywhere. I'm very focused on my purpose and my vision. And that's why you can see a clear, distinct thing. Because with the music and the politics and the books and the doing my tour right now, and everything, it could seem like a mishmash, but you see it's a very clear, the Joy Villa brand is very distinct, and that's God's blessing and God's favor. That's
So
right.
no matter what you're talking about, whether you're talking about being a humanitarian or if you're talking about politics, or you're just
Yes.
talking about being pro-woman, what comes behind it to me is Joy Villa. To me, your brand is that of just pure joy and inspiration. So
Thank you.
whatever you're talking about is going to come across as that, because you've made that your
Yes.
brand. That's what attracted me to you, to have you on the show, is I was like,
Thank
there's no
you.
way she can have a name like Joy and not have a bunch of energy.
Right? Exactly, right? This has been
You're
amazing,
full of energy.
Sherry.
I absolutely love it. You've taught us so much, and seeing you've got me inspired. And so I know you have all the listeners inspired. And, now we're putting our podcast on YouTube. We just
I
started
love
doing that a
that.
few weeks ago. And so I know you're going to inspire those that want to go to
That's
YouTube and just
awesome.
watch
And
us
your
chat.
listeners, I'd be welcome to hear, comments or questions. You can follow me on YouTube at Miss Joy Villa, MISS Joy Villa, as well as joyvilla.com has all the links. I'm at Joy Villa on Instagram, very active there, at Joy_Villa on Twitter. And I'm also on Parler at Joy Villa.
Parler.
Yes. Well, this has been amazing, Sherry. I could talk to you forever.
I know, right? Me too.
Yeah.
Well, I love you, girl. Mwah. When this airs, the election's going to be 5 days away. So,
whoa.
Yep.
Get out and vote.
Vote
with your conscience, vote with your morals. Get out there and vote, ladies. This is the most important election we have ever had. We need to reelect Donald J. Trump for president.
Thank you, Joy. I appreciate you so much.
Thanks, Sherry. Love you, girl.
Thank you for tuning in all the way through Real Girl Talk. Make sure you subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you happen to have iTunes, would you do me a huge favor and leave us a rating and review of the show? That's the way that we get this message out to more and more people around the world. And selfishly giving us a review and rating, something good is going to come back your way. Plus, I know you're the type of person that wants others to live their best lives. So can you copy this link, share it to your friends, share it on social media? Remember, people need to be inspired. They need to have tips. They need to have business ideas more than ever right now. And I know that you can help me on this mission. Thank you again so much. If you want to be a supporter of the show, go back to realgirltalkpodcast.com, click Be a Supporter. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for being a part of Real Girl Talk Podcast. And until next week, keep your encouragement tank full, your faith in God, and create your beautiful life.